Okay, so working on 2011 Nissan Altima here. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, so I'm going to put this segment at the very beginning. What we're going to do is we're going to change the CVT fluid on a 2011 Nissan Altima 2.5 liter. This is the SL model. That part shouldn't really matter. It uses the specific CVT fluid, NS2. Getting the dipstick out can be a little difficult. I already have it out, but when it's clicked down in here, what you have to do is you have to kind of get a little screwdriver and push this little tab in so that this pulls out, and then it lifts up. And then once you've done that, turn it around and put it down this way. The reason why you want to do that is so that you don't have to keep unclicking it and clicking it with a little screwdriver. Also, if you put a little bit of oil, CVT oil, around this O-ring here, this will help make it so it goes in and out better. Now we're going to leave it up a little bit just so that we get some airflow. And we're going to go down below and we're going to drain the CVT fluid out and remove the pan on this model because this model does not have a drain plug. So we're going to go ahead and do that. But I just wanted to show you, like I said, you just have to kind of push it, this little tab here, when it's inside this metal hook down here, and then it lifts out. It can be a little bit difficult to get it out, so don't be alarmed if you have trouble. All right, we're laying underneath a 2011 Nissan Altima here. It's the 2.5 SL with the CVT transmission in it. We're going to go ahead and change the CVT fluid. It's been about, I'd say, 35 to 38-ish. I have to look at the exact number, 1,000 miles since I last changed it. And we're going to go ahead and do it again. The only problem I had with this car, which is very rare, for some reason, this particular 2011 Nissan Altima did not have a drain plug on the transmission pan, which I thought was a little strange. So I picked up a pan at the local pull-apart junkyard cover for it. Could order the Dorman part number too for it as well. They have them at Advanced Auto that you can order online, or you can also buy them, I believe, at AutoZone in-store for pickup. And that will get you a Dorman one with a plug in it, but I just chose to go with the $10 option at the pull-apart that had a good plug on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out all these fasteners. Now we're going to try to do it in a way in which that we can try to control the fluid the way it comes out, because this makes a heck of a mess. So I got a 10 millimeter here on my electric little impact here. I'm just going to go ahead and start zipping these out. And I got a magnetic dish to put them in. I'm going to leave a few on each side, so there's at least one at each corner to hold everything, so I don't get fluid all over the place. So we'll go ahead and keep working at these. And we're going to try to measure what actually comes out, because you don't want to overfill these transmissions, obviously. Try to get up under here. Like I said, I'm taking out a lot of them, but not all of them, just enough to still hold the pan up in place so I don't have a huge mess. This one here is going to be the fun one to get to. And I do have extra bolts that I grabbed with the other pan, so that way if I lose one, it's not the end of the world. Already starting to see a little bit of dampness around this one, so that means it's starting to leak a little bit. Let's see here. Now, the nice thing with the plug, the drain plug, is you could get a nice drain going on this before you go and take this off, and you get most of the fluid out, so you're not making a huge mess. But for whatever reason, I didn't think that was a necessary idea. All right, so now I'm going to switch over here to my ratchet, so that I can control the speed in which that I'm unscrewing these. Try to get a controlled drip here if we can. Right now, we're going to go ahead and take out, I thought I had one over here. Maybe I did not know. Let's see, it was just this one here. Okay. I'll go ahead and loosen that one up. And that should get a nice controlled drip going now. Fluid actually looks pretty good though. But I found that these transmissions, if you don't really change them every, 30 to 50,000, you start getting, you know, transmission whine and issues like that. I did a previous video on this, and it seemed to be a pretty big hit. Everybody seemed to like it. The only difference I'm going to do this time is, since the vehicle's out of warranty, I'm just going to use the cheaper aftermarket fluid. You can do that at your own discretion. I'm going to use some CVT smooth drive technology Castrol fluid. Advance is discontinuing it and had a really good deal on it. They're going to start carrying their own house brand, so we're going to do that instead for the fluid on here. Like I said, you kind of do that at your own risk. The NS2 Nissan fluid is what they recommend for this. A lot of dealerships, from what I understand, actually have big jugs of Valvoline fluid in the back that they use to do their changes, so they're not even using the factory fluid when you bring your Nissan in anyway. So but the problem with the Castrol fluid is it's red, so there's that possibility of it, you know, voiding your warranty. So that's the only thing that I would advise you to be careful of. If you are still under warranty, I'd just stick with the Nissan fluid, just to keep from having somebody say something to you, because this is supposed to be like a transparent green color. Working on this last bolt here. Should start to really flow here in a minute once I get the last few threads out of it. Alright, right now there's only one fastener actually holding this. Wow, this fluid still looks really good, but I'd still rather have it done. And I'm just giving a little bit of a pry just to try to lose most of it in here. Alright, now that we got most of that out, I'm going to go ahead and start cracking this last one loose. There's only one left in the pan, so you want to be gentle. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but I have this up on car ramps here, supported, so that I can get under it a little easier. Now when we refill it and you're doing your final top off, you want to make sure that you're on level ground, obviously, so you get an accurate reading. Alright, so that's really starting to pretty much finish up what's left in there. Now I'm going to do double hand this here and see if I can try to get this out of here with my hands covered in CVT fluid. Okay, that is the last fastener. Now I should be able to hold it more securely since I'm right-handed. There we go. Not too bad. Alright, well, we're going to let that just drip dry for a while, so we're going to shut you off for a minute and go back up top. I'm going to show you some part numbers and what we're doing. Number, it's the door last from AutoZone. They have the filter. And then this is the Castrol CVT fluid we're using. We're going to need probably about 5.5 quarts. That's what I needed last time to do this. And this is the smooth drive technology. Now I'm going to flip this around. I don't know if it's going to pick it up or not, but it does say on here that it is suitable for NS2 for the Nissan. So like I said, we should be fine with that. And it is red in color, so keep that in mind if you choose to go with this option. Now what we're going to do over here is I'm going to take these magnets out of here to kind of clean them off. I'm going to reuse mine. Put the drain plug over there. This is the replacement pan that I got at the junkyard because, like I said, it has the drain plug. So next time I don't have to go through so much effort to do this. It is good to do this at least once, depending on how long you hang on to your vehicle. Take the pan down and actually clean this properly and get it nice and clean. Set that one aside and then clean this one. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're back under the vehicle. We'll go back up and show you what we were doing with the pan. So this is the valve body and everything here. Right now we're just going to take out these, which are also 10 millimeter. These bolts here, this is what holds the actual filter in. And I do believe one or two of them are different sizes, so you want to make sure you remember where these things go. There we go. A little messy of a job. I should put my gloves back on. So we're going to try to take one out at a time and lay them in a pattern so we know where they go. So that's the front one. Or I'm sorry, yeah, the front one. Take that one out. Yeah, that's different in size. As you can see, it's much shorter, so. And this back one. Is also short. So there we go, laid them out in the pattern. This should just pull right out, I believe. Which that should get some more fluid out of it for you. There we go. Just let that drain so you can. The filter in here is still relatively clean. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to sit this here. I've got the new filter here somewhere in front of me. And we're going to position, I'm going to put some CVT fluid. There's an O-ring on here just to help us get it up in there nicely. Not having to put up too much of a fight. Alright, put that up in there like so. That should be, I believe that should be all we have to do. I don't know if it has to. There we go. Now, the front here. Get that one screwed back in. I always do these by hand. You're only going into aluminum. Get this one in right here. Start them off. Now there is a torque settings on these. I personally don't know what it is. I didn't bother looking it up. Just obviously use common sense. You don't want to over torque these because they're only going into aluminum. And you'll definitely regret that. I'm sure if you Google it, I'm sure you can get the torque specs on it. That's about good. Probably a 1/4-inch driver would be the more intelligent thing to use on here. Let's give it a little bit of a okay. That should be good. Now, I'm going to try to change this gasket here. I left it on here last time, but I don't know how difficult this is going to be to get off here. It is really, really stuck on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first put just throw that in there. I'm going to move this. I'm going to wipe my hands off and see what kind of a issue this is going to be. I got a flat blade razor here. So I'm going to try to see if I can get at it on the edge here, or if I have to go from the inside. I don't want to get any of this stuff in the transmission. There we go. I think it's just a matter of getting under it, getting it started, and it should hopefully just peel down. Looks like it's a metal one. Yeah, it feels like a metal one. So just peel that off like so. It does have some points. What do they call these, Josh? These my mind isn't working. There's positioning pins. What's the name of these things right here? These little things. They use them on transmissions and engines. Little pins, locating tabs.
Something like that.
I can't think of the name of it right at the moment, but I'm going to try to clean this all off here. Just kind of tap all this here just to get some of the excess fluid. Okay. Dowel pin? Is that the word? Okay. Right. Everything looks good on here. I might do a little dab of brake clean on a rag and just go around here again just to clean up the gasket mating soap and leave that there. So while we're doing that, we're going to let this kind of continue to drip a little bit for a couple minutes. We're going to go up top and we're going to go ahead and take a look at that pan and get the gasket situated on there and get it ready for accepting the new pan we're going to put on there. So we're going to go back up top. You're welcome to stop if it's easier, Josh. Okay, so we are going to reuse the steel gasket that I pried off the bottom of the transmission. I don't see a problem doing that on this case because I've reused it. This will be the second reuse already, but I don't see anything wrong with it. There's a little bit of corrosion on it, but it still should seal. The reason why is because the gasket, don't use the Felpro, because the Felpro gasket apparently isn't the right one. It doesn't fit at all. It's not even nearly close. The one that comes with the door last filter will work, but I don't like the rubber style. I'd prefer to use one that's more, you know, durable. So, like I said, I've used these, reused these before, never had a problem yet, not a single leak from any of them. So this is a replacement pan, like I said, that I picked up. I've already cleaned it thoroughly to get rid of any debris, put the magnets back in on the little humps there. And this is the one with the plug on it. So I got that 19mm plug with a new crush washer on there to keep that from leaking. So that should keep that in good shape. That way next time when it's time to do a change, I can just drain it from the plug. This is the pan that came off of it. A little bit of friction material, but not much. I mean, look at that, it's still very clean. So what we're gonna do is, now we got our filter in place, we're gonna go ahead under and we're gonna start putting all the bolts, screws I should say, back in to this. Now it can be a little tricky holding this gasket in place, but it's all part of the fun of working on cars. So once we get back under there, we'll pick up and go ahead and get this pan put on there. Okay, so we're back under here. We're gonna, like I said, reuse this gasket. I'm gonna see if I can get it to go back up on here, back on these little things here. Probably not gonna cooperate. Now I shouldn't have removed this. I should have checked to see that the Felpro, the one they gave me, is the wrong gasket. Yeah, this isn't gonna cooperate. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to two-hand this guy. Probably isn't gonna work out as planned. Come on. Oh, here we go. Yeah, we're gonna have to leave it on the pan and do it that way. Okay, so we're gonna put the gasket on the pan. Come on. Yeah, this is not easy to do when you have no room to work and you're laying on the ground. And it's a metal gasket too, so it's to slide all over the place. Okay, we're back under now. I kind of skipped and jumped ahead a little bit. We got the pan back up with the gasket laid on it. The reason why we didn't record, it was really difficult. I needed the camera guy's help to keep the gasket from shifting all over the place, because it has a steel in the middle of the gasket, and it kept wanting to grab the magnets in the pan, and I couldn't get it to stay in position. So we got it back in place. We got the dowel pins. There's little dowel pins here for alignment tabs. All I'm going to do here is I'm going to just start, now that the gasket and the pan's in place, I'm going to start running these all in by hand. And then, if I can find the hole there, get that moving. Okay. Now, instead of you guys sitting here watching me screw all these in, I'm going to go ahead and stop the camera here and continue to run these little fasteners in. I would look up online for the torque specs. I don't have it available. I just do this by hand. Obviously, you don't want to over torque these and strip out or crack the bolts or strip out the threads in the transmission. So just kind of take your time. Use like a 1/4-inch drive. Like I said, 10mm. So we're going to cut you off here. Let me finish running these all down and tighten them, and then we'll go up top and start the fill process. Okay, so we are back up top. We got the pan back up secured, got everything torqued down. Like I said, we reused the old gasket because the gasket, the Felpro one, didn't work. It was the wrong size, which is really strange because I verified the part number and it's supposed to be the right one. We did not use the gasket that came with the door last filter because it's that rubber style, and I don't really care for those. I feel like those always end up leaking at some point. So we drained everything out that was in it into the thing, and then we put it into a fluid here, and it looks like there's about exactly 5 quarts in there, maybe slightly shy. So that's about what we got out of it. So we're going to go ahead and just put in almost 5 quarts, and we're going to lower it down and check it, and also check for leaks. So we're going to go ahead and put this in. Now the Nissan fluid is normally a green color. This stuff here is a red color. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the I'm going to go a little under 5 quarts. I'm going to put a hair under 5 in it, and then we're going to sit it down and measure it. So we'll go ahead and do that off camera, and we'll pick up, and when we get onto level surface, get it warmed up to operating temperature, and then we're going to start checking it for the final measurements. So we're going to go ahead and check the fluid now. I've let the car warm up probably for about 10 minutes or so. Ran it through all the gears. I put just shy of the 5 quarts in because it looked like it was a little bit shy of 5 quarts. So we're going to go ahead and clean off the dipstick. I allowed everything to go down through the charge tube. We're going to put it in, like I said, with this little clip backwards so it doesn't re-engage. I put a little fluid around this O-ring so it'll come back out easier. Run that down in there. And then we're going to pull it back out and check the level here. And it still looks a tad low. It needs to be right between these two little notches. That is the ideal range for it to be. So I might have lost a little more fluid out of it than what I was able to collect in that can. I'm going to let it check it one more time here. You have to be watched careful. They actually, Nissan tells you not to use these red chop rags that I'm using because they leave lint, and you don't want any lint to go down into your transmission. You want to use like a blue towelette or something, just making sure there's no lint on here. I'll run this down again. Okay. So it's giving me a weird reading. It's about the halfway mark there, but the other side is not even coming up the dipstick, so that is bizarre. So I might have to add, I'm going to add the rest of this 5th quart in there, and then we'll be able to check it again then. Now you're supposed to technically check this with the Nissan Consult 2, which is their diagnostics computer. It allows you to get an accurate temperature before you check your fluid level. I probably could pull up the level or the temperature. I do have a pretty decent diagnostic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this dipstick in, and I'm going to drive around the block 1 or 2 times, just make sure we're up to temp. Make sure it fluctuates and changes the ratios like it should on the CVT, and then I'm going to come back and check it one more time. Alright, we're back again. I just went for a test drive around the block. We're checking the fluid again just to make sure it's where it needs to be, not over or underfilled. Go ahead and push that dipstick back down into the charge tube. Pull that back out and take a look at it here. And it's about right at the beginning of the little hash marks. So I'm actually going to add a little bit more to that. Last time I did this fluid drain and refill, it took about 5.5 quarts. So I don't think it should take that much, but I did have it a little overfilled. I'm just going to go ahead and... Alright, we're going to put it right there. Still a little bit left in this one. And we're going to check it here again. Now, some of the guys, just to kind of get rid of some of the issues in the comments right now, a lot of the guys are going to tell you that there's going to be a lot of fluid left over in this transmission, that the drain and refill isn't the equivalent to a flush. It does not rinse out the cooling lines, the coolant lines that go through the radiator, and it's got a lot left over in the valve body, I'm sure, and the torque converter. But if you do this in regular intervals like I have, and you're changing it out with new fluid, you're going to get most of that old fluid out of there. I believe this system only takes 7 to 8 quarts as a total capacity, and then between 4.5 and 5.5, depending on how level you are when you drain it, to just do a spill and fill, which is what I've done. I did it before at 48,000 miles. It's now at 76,300, and so that's about the time that I would say to do it. And your CVT should last you, really, in my opinion, forever if you do this. So we're going to check it again. I just wanted to allow some time for the fluid to go down to the tube so I can get a more accurate reading. All right, so we're at that top notch. So that top notch right there, that should be more than fine. I don't want to go any further than that. So, but that should be where it needs to be. So we're going to leave it there. A couple days, I'm going to come back, check it again. I may, on the next oil change, being that I did get such a good deal on this fluid, I may actually go ahead and pull out that plug this time when I change the oil and drain and refill the transmission one more time. You won't get as much out without dropping the whole pan, but you will definitely get an adequate amount out, doing that. And that will pretty much get majority of the fluid will be new at that point. It'll dilute it enough that if I drain it again and refill it again, just in the plug, that should dilute it enough to the point where I have, I would say, a good 90%, if not, 95% all fresh fluid. Like I said, we chose to go with the Castrol CVT. Do this at your own risk, obviously. There's a lot of haters out there that are going to say, well, you need to use Nissan, nothing else. You're going to avoid your warranty. I don't have a warranty on this vehicle. I've had absolutely no problems with this transmission. I just used this exact same fluid in a 2012 Nissan Rogue with the same engine and similar transmission, CVT. And since I put it in there, it actually got rid of the whining noise that a lot of these things make once the fluid breaks down and you reach and the transmission gets hot. You'll get a lot of whining noises and a lot of shudders and jerking too, people describe. And all of that went away after I changed it with this fluid. So that's only been in there for 2 weeks, so I don't know the outcome of how it's going to be. This is my first time using it in my personal vehicle. I got it significantly cheap on sale from Advance Auto because, like I said, they're going to start carrying their CarQuest brand. So I did reach out to Castrol, by the way, and they sent me a data sheet on this, and they said there's nothing wrong with me using this in here. I don't feel like they're going to make this fluid if it's not going to work in here. I mean, they're stamping their brand name on here in order to in making a claim it's going to work in here. So I don't think a company is going to do that unless the fluid is actually capable. It's probably more marketing because Nissan won't stamp their logo on the front of here and say that they are okay with this. It's probably more of a marketing aspect in my opinion. But like I said, as long as you use the right compatible NS2, which tells you right up here what your vehicle takes. So a lot of the newer Nissan Altimas, I want to say 2013 and above, they use NS3. Use only Nissan fluid, it says, but I don't know. I don't think that's necessary. So I will post a follow-up video in maybe a couple weeks after I've driven it a little, checked it, let you know how it's running. Like I said, I'm still trying to decide. I may do another spill and fill with just using the plug, since now that I have that pan from that junkyard car with the actual plug in it. And let me get you two. I'll be right back. I'm going to show you the part number for the This is the oil drain plug gasket 097-134. It's by Dorman, and this is the crush washer that you use when you change the oil. And this is what they look like. They're sort of like a copper, I guess. And when you or brass maybe, when you go ahead and you screw in your plug, this flattens out and creates a really good seal. Well, I discovered today this is the exact same crush washer that is on the drain plug for the transmission pan. So I got a few in there. You get a 10-pack of these. I want to say these were $8.99. I have Prime with Amazon, so they were free shipping. And good to have these around. I have 3 vehicles that use these, 3 Nissans that use these for the oil. So that way I can also change, when I change the CVT fluid, I can also use the same one. It fit perfect. So, and that'll give me the security knowing that that's not going to leak. So like I said, didn't have any problems, just drove around the block, seemed to drive just fine. Wasn't having any problems in the first place. This is preventative maintenance. And like I said, I'll post a follow-up video and let you all know how it's going. So I appreciate it, and thanks for watching.